This is Sean Goddard, and welcome to the Reflective Journal section of my games portfolio project. This portfolio piece is a level design which has been designed by myself and created in the Unreal Engine, with the sci-fi port theme that was given to us. First of all, I would like to say this level was designed with campaign potentials in mind, so if I was to use the leveling to add story element to it, hopefully it will all fit nicely in. The first area here is one of the two main corridors, one at each side of the main hangar in the middle. They both have staircases and doors which lead to the control room and the main hangar, which will be shown later. The corridors themselves were the first parts of the level that I had created, focusing mainly on little details that had the potential to be duplicated. I had originally designed these walkways as square in various sketches, but making them into rounded tunnels felt more to the theme. I went on to develop these using various other assets in the engine to piece them together. I used basic assets available in the engine to try and make them more constricting, but at the same time I wanted the player to feel as though they needed to follow them to progress through the level, kind of like a natural flow aspect. The next area worth the mention are the staircases. Originally the main hangar was a lot bigger due to my initial scaling, but when testing the level I had realised they were too long and very inconvenient. Even now I feel that they take a little too much time to climb and they're a little bit too long, but I decided to leave them in order to keep the size of the main hangar. Blocking volumes line the sides of the staircases to keep the player going in the correct direction. I thought about putting windows in the walls above the railings, but it didn't look like they fit in, so I kept the walls solid. I had a few issues trying to find the correct kind of railings to occupy the staircases. I mocked some up in 3ds Max, but they weren't amazing, and I couldn't help them fit into the theme of the level, so I had to settle with these railings. All that aside though, they have grown on me and they didn't need to be amazing to fit in. Following these staircases to the top leads the player to the main control room. Outside the window is a view of the city below. At first there was a lot more buildings, but smaller than the ones here. I had an idea that the city needed a feature of its own, such as a giant skyscraper, but when I came to putting it into the level, it looked bad, so I kept it simple and took it out. The city wasn't much of an issue to create, but I wanted it to look adequate, as it's one of the main features I really wanted in this level. Originally there was going to be a room at the very top of the level where you could have a much wider spread view of the city below, but due to time and the fact that I wasn't too sure how to incorporate that into the level, I kept it out. Outside the windows still, the player can see a runway with a few parked up ships. I used the fog volume to give the impression of the level being way up in the mountains, and the simple skybox was used to finish off the view. The control room was a tricky room for me to design. In my sketches and plans I thought about a spherical or holographic feature in the middle of the room, and the Unreal Engine has the perfect asset, which did give the impression of a control room, but whenever I would start to create the room and try and make some sort of atmosphere with it, the holographic globe wouldn't fit in, and it always seemed to be too much. As you can see though, in the end I used what looked like to me as a kind of main computer terminal. I was happy with this decision, but it's a shame I didn't get to use it. The main hangar is the largest room in the level. I used floodlights as well as strip lights on the ceiling to try and keep the lighting consistent as the player moved from the corridors. 4 large fans are located on the ceiling for ambience, as well as an array of light cones situated around the room, which give off a particle effect to come across a certain dusty feel and enhance the lighting in the room. I wanted to have a large focus on the centre of the room where I've put a large spaceship that may be getting built or repaired in some kind of way. The arms of the gripping device move at a touch of a button, which for example could be tied into some kind of story event or escape route to another area. The big issue I had with this main room is that there was a lot of floor space to try and populate. It needed assets that would make the room look more like a hangar, but I didn't want to create clutter. I filled the room with things that looked like they belonged there. This is the final part of the level, the bar area. I took a little inspiration from the bar in Star Wars, as you can see, and unlike any other areas in the level, I wanted this bar to be untidy, not disgusting, but untidy. I tried to get a range of assets that mingle in with each other to give off a kind of homely vibe, which is what I believe bars need. Taking personal experience from the bars I have visited and countless amounts of research online to try and create a convincing but still a fantasy bar type feel. This concludes the reflective journal. This is Sean Goddard, and thank you for watching.